Hello, shalom, shalom, fam. How you guys doing? Welcome to another episode of the Lovely Camie Show. I am your host, Minister Camie, and it's always a pleasure to have the opportunity to come to your home. I bring you peace. I bring you grace. I bring you the love of God. And I want to say thank you to those that are watching from near and far. We want to give a shout out to for Jasper TV, first of all, because that's our hometown. So I want to give a shout out to everybody that is in our hometown and our community. Shout out to you all. And I want to give a shout out to WZOP Broward. Shout out to you. I want to give a shout out to WOTS in Kissimmee. We want to give a shout out to WNDO in Orlando. Radio Delta. Shout out to you. Thank you for allowing me to come to your home each weekend so that we can do what we do best. Now, before we enter into the show, we want to say again for you to help us spread out the word, because every time we are here not to just have a norm show, but we want to make sure that every time we're here that we're touching lives wherever people are listening to us. So I'm asking you to please do me the favor to like, share, and subscribe. What we're gonna do, like, share, and subscribe, because listen, again, like we said, we don't want to just do a show like just to be doing show, but we want to make sure if we touch one lives while we are here, the world can change, because the topic that we are picking, we make sure that we pray on it. We make sure that those topics are that are there to help families, to help loved ones. So that's why we want to make sure that you help us spread the word so that some life can be changed through whatever topic that we choose to speak about. Now today we're here, of course I'm always bringing you special guests. When we come here, we don't just bring you just any guest. We bring you the guest, okay? So that when we have topic like the one we're going to speak about, so that people life can change, so that people can find life in the word that we speak here. Again, one life at a time can change through what we do here. So let me go ahead and introduce my guest, Dr. White. Say hello to the audience. Introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Dr. Satchel White. I'm also Chief Satchel White in the Army Reserves. I've been in the Army for 29 years and still serving. Haven't retired
29
yet.
years, y'all!
March next year is going to be 30 years. But I'm also a doctor of business administration on the civilian side. So I have 5 children, 5 adult children.
Now, how the heck she gonna have been 25 years serving? Like, listen,
29 years.
She's not in uniform today. I'm gonna fool around with her.
29 years plus serving, plus 5 children, plus a PhD.
Good Lord.
So that was hard work. That was work-life balance. A lot of hard work doing that. But here I am today. Thank you for inviting me. I appreciate it.
Jesus. Now, we're talking about 25 years of service. Before we fool around with her, let me be serious for a minute. Now, Chief, we salute you and we want to say thank you for your service to our country, because we know it is not an easy thing for you to be out there, especially when you have your family, husband, kid, and for you to just give your life to serve for our country. Man, this is really, there's no word. So we want to thank you for your service.
Yeah.
Now I can fool around with her.
Yes, it's a lot.
So how do you do it? How did you do it? Throughout those...
Oh man, 29 years later and looking back, I do ask myself, how did I do it? With the grace of God. Wow. God was in the midst of it. I see myself as Deborah in the Bible. Wow. Deborah in Judges 4 and 5, she was a warrior, she was a soldier, she was a leader, and that's how I see myself. So with God's guidance and protection, I was able to see through. But not only that, I try to to discipline myself in a certain way where my children could follow. So me being in school all the time make them think it was a norm. That was my way of teaching them about education. And so me always being in school, having a mom with a PhD is something else. So they emulated me in that aspect. All my children have been to college, and all my children are doing well. Well, the youngest is 18. He's in college right now for management and information systems. But they follow my footsteps, and I really appreciate that.
That's a blessing.
And I've been deployed so many times, overseas, in the States, different assignments. Had to leave them. Had to leave them at a younger age. I had to leave them with family members. I remember the first time I deployed, I had to go to Kuwait for a year, and it was, you know, I had to leave my daughter. She was 6 months old at the time, and the youngest one at the time was 6 months. I had to leave her, and I had to go to Korea for a year. So it's not easy. It's hard, and that's why mental health is important. Is important, right? We need to identify it, deal with it, because it's a cause. It causes. It's a result of a lot of different issues in our lives, but thanks to God, yes, I'm here today to talk to you.
Testify. Now, before we enter so deep into our conversation here, let me back up a little bit. We come back to Dr. White, but I want to just also mention to all of you that are here to also remember about A Short for Life. Okay, for those of you that have a loved one that is not covered out there, that doesn't have a way, like if you have a loved one that passed away and you have a way to bury that person, that's what A Short for Life is there for, where you can cover 7 members in your family for only $70 a month. You can call 561-313-5979 so that you can make sure your loved one is being covered, so that we don't have to scratch our head or go to GoFundMe, because that's what a lot of us like to do when death comes, because we don't know when it's going to come. Death is unavailable, so therefore that's why we are to be ready. Not only for when this body is not here anymore, but also ready spiritually, so that you know where you're going when you leave this world, because we all gonna depart from this world. So it's making sure at every stage, where are we going and what going to happen when we are no longer here. Are we going to leave our loved one crying, not knowing what to do or how to bury our body? Are they going to burn you down? What are we going to do with your body? So therefore, please cover your loved one, because death is inevitable. Again, we want to give a shout out to Director Alan Daphnis and also the team that makes sure every time we are here that we look our best. We want to say shout out to them. So thank you for every time that we hear Director Alan, that you do the best that you can, that you make this incredible show go like everywhere and anywhere that people can hear it. So thank you for what you do. Again, now we can go back to our guests to continue our conversation. Today we are here basically to speak to you not only about her being deployed, leaving her kid, but something that she pointed out about mental health. We have so much discussion already in our show about mental health, but today we want to speak in the generational cycle that we deal with as human being, rather if it's our mom, our dad. Normally sometimes we hear, when we look at a baby, we said, oh my God, you are a split, look as your dad, you look like your dad, or you look like your mom, or the habit that we pick, as we're a child. Or when we grow up, we have certain behavior, and we're asking where those behavior come from. We inhabit those behavior from our grandparent or mom, whatever it is, we have those behavior. And sometimes, rather if we like it or not, we are carrying those behavior, and there's nothing we tend to do about them to let those behavior go, or want to be aware of what's going on with those behavior that we kept doing. So today we want to basically embark on what is generational cycle that we're dealing with every day. So we are back with Mrs. Chief. Now, before we back into the question, you say something about mental health, because I know you out there leaving your kid, um, especially you said they were a little one, and there you are in the middle of war, and your kid is. How did you cope with those kind of things?
Well, the military have resources, first of all, but a lot of people are shy when it comes to mental health. They don't want to share it, especially military. People look at you as being tough.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want people to know that you have mental health issues. So a lot of people don't report it, or don't seek help with it. And I was one of those people.
Mm-hmm.
Now looking back, and I can see how I was depressed. I had anxiety, but for me, I didn't seek help for it. And so now, in my later years of going through, my last deployment was last year. I went in 2022, came back last year, and that was when I actually decided, you know what, I need to seek help, and found out I was severely depressed.
Wow.
And I had no idea because I'm high functioning. You look at me, I'm always happy, laughing, hey, how you doing? But you would never know that I have any kind of mental health issues.
Wow.
But I'm spiritual, very spiritual. And I believe in God. I have faith in Him. I talk to Him every day. So I know, at least I can identify that I have issues, talk to God about it, and seek help.
Right.
But when I was younger, that was something I didn't do. And a lot of people out there go through mental health issues. It's important that you seek help. Seek help.
Absolutely.
And Gallup did a survey, and it was found that the Gen Zs mainly now deal with mental health issues more than any other generation.
Wow.
Yes. So it's important that we pay attention to our children, and we give them the seek out the help that they need.
Yes. Very important. Yes. What, like you said, how you have a type A personality, always laughing, always giggling, that you would never know that you were depressed. But I always said, sometimes it's those that's always in the front line that you need to worry about, because we in the front line doing what we do. Nobody's asking how we're doing. Right, because we're helping everybody else. We're making sure everybody else is okay. Like I told you, I can relate to Deborah in the Bible, that warrior. I have that warrior spirit. I am a leader. I have to make sure everybody else is okay. That's just how I am. And so I've been called. That's why I started going to church. That's where we met, in church. Because I've been called to serve in the church. Right. My husband and I serve a lot outside of church. We help children from Jamaica. We pay for their school, supplies, and help them. But then and help other people too, adults. Right. But then I got this call to, instead of helping people individually, just serve in the church. And a lot of times we help people disappoint us, and we think that we're being used, but no, that's just God using us to help others. So we can't look at it as being used. But I've been called to help in the church, and that's what I've been doing. This is where we met. And I'm happy and that's how I deal with my depression. Right? To help find groups, and with people with like mind, like myself, and enjoy each other and do things, and that's what I'm doing right now. All right, so let's enter into a question. So why do certain behavior, like financial habit or family dynamic, seems to repeat from one generation to the next, even when we casually try to break the curse, and it still continues?
Let me speak from my perspective.
Right.
So my parents were the silent generation. That was people who grew up during the Great Depression and during World War II. Right. And so during that time, they weren't taught about finances. They were frugal and conservative because this was during the Great Depression, this was during World War II.
Right.
And so what could they teach us?
Yeah.
Right? So whatever we know now is what we learn on our own. I know that's what I learned on my own because I was never taught,
Right,
you
right.
know, about finances.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, you see your parents struggle trying to, you know, take care of
Yeah.
you and your siblings, and so that's all you see. That's all I saw.
Mm-hmm.
I was never sat down and said, listen, this is how you're supposed to do your finances. So for me, I inherited that, and so I imparted that on my children because I never really sat with them and said, listen, this is finances, because I was too busy in the military trying to juggle, you
Right.
know, deployments, assignments, taking care of the kids, and going to school and doing all these things. So for me, it's just trying to, you know, stay above water. So I didn't even have the opportunity to help them. But lucky with these generations, the millennials and the Gen Zs, they are very capable,
Very much
you
so.
know, when
Very
it comes
much
to
so.
finances.
Mhm.
So
If you don't teach them, they're gonna go and find
right,
out.
they're gonna find out
Yes.
because you're technology savvy,
Right.
you know, and Gen Zs, they're all about social media,
Absolutely.
right? So they learn on their own, and then being in school and being taught, but that's just for me. I was never taught from my parents,
Okay.
and that's what we do. We hand it down to our
To
children.
our children,
To
yeah.
what we teach.
So yeah, because I mean, thank God for you that, like you said, the young generation, they're able to. But what about those that are not able to, you know, go out there and say, okay, I'm gonna go try to teach myself, or maybe because, say for instance, if their parent was not able to read or was not able to, you know, do whatever, you know, they end up carrying that habit, and because of that, you know, they find themselves stuck in a position.
I know. Well, self-awareness first. They have to identify that, looking back in their family history and identifying that that is a problem.
Mhm.
So they have to be aware of that. It's all on them to be self-aware about that problem and seeking, you know, help.
Yeah, but then sometimes you have people, even though their parent, because their parent themselves was not able to, or either our grandparent was not, didn't teach them right, so they only teach their kid what they know.
Right.
But because that kid, you know, didn't get what she needed to get from her mom, now she is so, how would I say it, bitter at the mom, because the mom
Right.
either didn't take her to school or didn't pay for
Yeah.
school or didn't have the opportunity to. So
Right.
now there's that hatred.
Mhm.
You know, you didn't do anything for me when I was growing up.
Right.
Where were you where I was growing up?
Right, and that spirals into what?
Mhm.
Depression, anxiety. So it's a domino effect.
Mhm.
But how we break these cycles, that's the issue. How do we break these generational cycles, especially for those that you're talking about?
Yeah, because you have people too, like say for instance, if their mom was a drug addict, they become one.
Yes.
If their
Substance
dad
abuse.
was someone that used to beat on female, they become
They-
one.
yes.
Or you know, you can say, people said, oh my God, you were born a liar. Like, you know, you got
Yeah.
those men, you know, they, oh my God. They will lie their teeth out. You know why? Because this is things that are, you know, going from generation to generation.
Yes.
And one thing that I always said, you know, to people, like, you know, you have young kid, you know, when you go out there doing things that you got no reason on doing,
Mhm.
it's gonna follow your kid.
Yeah.
And I don't think people believe things like that.
No.
Because you say for instance, that's gonna be another topic. Like you have guy, right? They kept going out there doing stuff that, you know, sleeping
Yeah.
with here, sleeping there, sleeping. But you have a daughter, you have a son.
Right.
So the same thing that you're doing to a female that you got no business doing, you best believe. Do you want your kid to go through that?
No. And that's, so for the financial part, I told you, I didn't sit with my children on that. But as far as that, yes. I made sure that my kids understood who they're dealing with. They understood people. So whatever I was going through with people in my relationships, I made sure I made them understand this is what's going on, and this is what can happen to you. So we have open communication when it
That's
comes to
good.
that. My children can come to me with any issues, and we can deal with it and resolve it together. And that's important. Family counseling, family seeking therapy together, family having open communication regarding these issues and trying to deal with that. So that's important.
Yes. And you have a lot of parents nowadays, they don't have that communication with their kids because, say for instance, they see their daughter, 16 years old, now have a boyfriend. Instead of them sitting down with their kids, because I know of someone, because the daughter is 16 years old now, she have a boyfriend. Oh my God, that was the worst thing she could have done. Start, shooting her around, you're not going to stay in my house, you're going to get out my house, at this time you need to go to school. That's not how you talk to your
Because that's
kids.
some unresolved issue that parent has.
Right.
That they never dealt with. And so they enforce that on their children.
And then when they do that, that's like
And then
forcing
it
them.
keeps going. It keep going on and on and on, because the daughter may do that with her children instead of holding her, making her responsible, making her accountable. 16, you want to have a boyfriend, have that conversation. Maybe bring somebody in to help you to have that conversation, and not put your child out because they want to have a boyfriend at 16 because your mother did that to you. Your grandmother did that to your mother.
Now we're gonna pass it on because that's what my mom did to me. That's what my dad did to me.
Identify. That's an issue. That's an issue. It happened to me. So let me break this generational cycle right here.
And that's what we need to understand, like parents, like especially my parents. For them, they think because they're, like you just said, their mom did it to them when they had a man, how their mom treat them, beat them up, or kick them out of the house, or don't have them sleep in the house. Now I'm gonna pass it on to my generation. That's how my mom raised me. Well, that's how your mom raised you in her generation. We are dealing with a totally different generation now. You cannot do the same thing that your mom do to you to this new generation.
And that's why I said earlier, I said self-awareness. If you don't have that, that is what's going to help you identify that this is a cycle that needs to end, because you inherited it.
Right.
You don't want to pass that on to your children. So you need to stop it. Find ways of stopping it. And you can do research. You can ask for help. You can talk to people. And not just try to deal with these issues on your own. And sometimes you as a parent need to go deal with your unresolved issues before dealing with that. Because a lot of times we have all these unresolved
We don't want to
trauma.
believe we have issue. We don't want to believe that we have our own trauma. It's only our kid, right? I mean, seriously, because sometimes they are so stuck in their way. Like my mom, for instance, oh my God, her ways, I have to ask God for grace every day, because her ways is her way. If it's not her way, it's the highway.
Caribbean.
You understand me? So I'm like, wow, we like this. The generational curse that kept passing, but we need to, we cannot treat our kid like our grandmama treat us. My generation is totally different.
If it's negative, if it's a trauma,
right?
If you're passing on negative,
mainly it's negative. Mainly, okay? Because what
positive, you want to keep that, but the negative stuff, you want to try to get rid of that.
We must get rid of our negativity and how we talk to our daughter, how we talk to our son, because how you talk to your son in front of your, however you talk to your husband or your wife in front of your kid, or because your mom did it to you, they gonna get up and do the same thing.
Yeah, so you see, you were raised in a 2-parent home, and you see your mother treat your father a certain way, or vice versa. That's what you bring into your relationship, or that's what you look for in a man, because you think that is a norm. For my father to hit on my mother is a norm. That's what I see. That's what I'm used to. So that's what you seek out. So we need to identify these issues, and we need to make sure we're resolving them and not,
Now let's enter into the next question. How can trauma or unlove emotion issue or generational impact the mental health that we just spoke about and relationship in future generation.
Right, and you hit on it earlier when you talked about substance abuse. And that's one of the main things, substance abuse. And it causes anxiety, it causes depression and all that stuff. How can we deal with that?
How can we deal? How can we deal with that?
How can we deal with that?
We have to talk to our children.
Talk to your children, open communication, seek help.
And sometimes we need, especially when it comes to men, right? Men, when you have your daughter, because some daughters, they don't come to their dad because their dad is that tough guy. It's okay to be tough with your daughter and your son as well. But when it comes to sex, because when they hit 16, sometimes some kid 10 years old or even 8 years old, they already, having sex. Why? Because they're in school. The school is teaching them something that you are not teaching them. The minute that you are afraid to speak to your daughter, the world will teach them for you. When they hit 16 now, they let you know that hey, I have a man now, and you trying to keep them away from their man, then honey, they're gonna leave the house. I know you're gonna say, this woman is crazy. I ain't crazy, because all my life I've been dealing with young people, so I know. So the more you try to chase them out of what they want to do, the more they will want to do it.
Yeah, because they develop these insecurities that cause them to want to be attached to somebody.
You understand me?
Right? And then they become attached to whoever it is. And so they go through these issues, and it can cause the PTSD and depression, and people don't understand that. So we need to deal with it. We need to identify it. Parents, identify these issues that you are, handing down to your kids, that your kids are inheriting from you, and deal with it. Talk about it. Seek help and try to resolve these issues, because it's causing depression, percentage of depression to be so high.
So high.
In our Gen Zs.
They're
right?
suiciding
They have the
themselves.
highest level of depression. So we need to make sure that we're
especially in our community, Caribbean, people, parents, where they said, "Oh, you're only a kid. Why do you have depression? What are you thinking about? You have nothing to think about." But let me tell you something. What's important, right? Say, for instance, you have your 16-year-old daughter, or 18, whatever, 17-year-old, whatever age that she might be, 14, 13, that she have a boyfriend, right? So now you're trying to force her to leave her boyfriend because you think she's too young, she shouldn't be having boyfriend, she should be concentrating in her school. Yes, you're right. But how are you treating her mom in the house? How are you behaving with her? Now, if you're a dad who's giving her that love, she don't have to go out there to search for it. Now, if she out there seeking for love, it's because you are not doing something that you're not supposed to be doing. You're not doing your work. You are not doing your job as a dad. Because why? Your 13 years old daughter or your 14-year-old daughter is out there seeking for love.
Because that dad has unresolved issues that he never really resolved.
Absolutely, because you only give what you can, what you have received.
So it goes down and down, like they call generational cycle. It's going to keep going and going and going. If someone in the family don't decide to let's break this, it's going to keep going.
Now, if I have to be honest, I remember with my family, right? Because I didn't grow up with my mom nor my dad. So therefore, telling each other, I love you, it was a taboo conversation for me. I couldn't tell none of my sister I love them, nobody. Because I've never heard anything, from my sister or my mom telling me they love me. I never hear stuff like that. So by me, saying it, it's a taboo. And I can see for some of them, some of my sisters and brothers, they are still battling on verbally saying, I love you, sis. Right. I love you, brother. They're still battling with that. Why? Because it's a generational pattern.
So when we have that Thanksgiving dinner, you can have those conversations.
When you have Thanksgiving, they fight.
They probably fight. On Christmas.
What? Lord Jesus, that's where the fight begin. They come and bring stuff from 15 years ago. Like, what? I mean, when I was a little girl, this is what you did to me.
Instead of trying to resolve the issue. But, you know,
Jesus.
open conversation helps, but sometimes it would get out of hand. But it's a start.
Oh my
it's
God.
A start.
Thanksgiving is the worst place to talk about family issue. I mean, Lord Jesus, they're going to be fighting in the house.
Yes. Yes,
so we can no, please don't try that. I think because oh Lord Jesus, I've been through them. So no,
but they can have a mediator, you know, someone that can mediate the conversation, you know, outside of Thanksgiving.
Oh God, please don't choose Thanksgiving.
And try to resolve those issues.
Yes,
you know, because it's affecting our children.
Affecting our children because everything you do have a consequence. When you don't want to deal with trauma that you've been through. As you know, as a kid yourself, you bringing it, you passing it down to your daughter, you passing it down to your son. So you have to resolve your own issue because sometimes it's hard for us to point the finger at us.
Right.
You know, we always see they, but we never see.
We don't see what we're doing wrong. Right. And just seek out God.
Very important.
You know, reach out to God. He's there for you.
He'll
guide you. He'll protect you. You know, if you believe in Him, He will be there for you. He will just talk to Him. You know, that's a big part of it.
Let's say the third question, which we kind of, you know, touch base on, you know, some of the answers that things that we need to do, but I'm going to read it anyway. What are some effective ways to break generational, negative, let's say, you know, let's make sure we say it. What are some effective ways to break some negative generational cycle, and how can family collectively work together to promote healing and change?
Yeah, we just talked about it.
We talked about it. We
just talked about it. Open communication. Open communication is always good.
Always good.
But first, you have to identify that you have that problem. Because a lot of us, a lot of parents, they don't think they have a problem. And they think, that's just how I raised you. Because that's just my style. But no, you have issues that you inherited from your parents, right? Right. So you need to identify that you have an issue in order to deal with it. So self-awareness is very important in this, in these conversations.
That's awesome. Yeah, most definitely we need to have self-awareness, because sometimes we probably said we have self-awareness, but then in reality, you're still doing the same thing over and over again. That's mean you are not really aware of what you're doing. Because sometimes we said, I'm not like my mom, or I'm not doing the same thing my mom, but you are doing some of the stuff. Because, you know, you have some people, they hate to say, like if their mom have some bad attitude or bad ways of dealing with things. And if you said, man, you are just like your mom. Oh, no, I'm not like my mother. No, I'm not. But you are, because you are. You're doing
something. To the moms, though, you know, being a mother, it didn't come with a handbook, you know. So true. And based on your economic situation, or when you got pregnant, or when you were raised, it has a lot to do with how you mother your child. So sometimes it's tough, and you have to do what you have to do to make that money and to take care of your children. So sometimes you don't have time to show love, or I love you, or give them that emotional, the emotion that they need. So
there's no attachment there. And another thing too, say for instance, when it comes to money, we talk about the financial issue. Like say for instance, if their mom was someone that have bad credit or that likes to borrow, they themselves, you have your kid, they have money issue where now they are always borrowing money, like, and then their credit get bad. Why? Because mom live a life of borrowing and you live that same life. That's, if you find yourself, in a cycle, ask yourself, why am I doing this all the time?
Or you want to do the opposite of what your parents did. If it's something negative,
right?
If your parents didn't have enough to raise you or didn't have anything to raise you, you want to put yourself in a situation where you have for your children.
Right.
You go to school, you get the education that you need so you can get that job that you need to make that money that will allow you to take care of your children. And that's what my thing was. When my kids got to high school level, getting ready to go to college, I knew how much money I had to make annually in order to take care of them. So that's why I stayed in college to get the degree that I needed, because I know I have to make at least $80,000 a year because my daughter getting ready to go to college. That's what I was looking at. And then because I have to do this, I have to do that. And so that's what I did. You know, but a lot of people don't have the ability to do that. But when you see your parents struggling, you don't want to struggle like them. So you try to put yourself in a position where you don't have to struggle.
Right.
You know, and then you look to retirement too as parents. For me, everything I do today is for my future, for my retirement, because I don't want my children to take care of me. I want to be able to take care of myself.
That's a good attitude. But you got some parent that say, you know, in Creole they have something they said, gamon fait petit pour de opposer or something. You don't know what that is. Bouik fait petit pour de opposer. Like the cow make daughter or kids so that they can take rest or something, and you know. But really, child, that's what they say. Like,
because
if they have kids,
think I took care of you, you're gonna take care of me.
That's
girl.
it.
The children.
That's the thing, and they give the children like it's your business to make sure you take care of me. Right. So we want to let you know that your kid. Yes, you have us. Yes, we are here, but we got our own business that we got to take care of. So we are not here to say, "Oh, my mom put me here, then I got to take care of." Listen, I got my own life. That's what they don't understand. They're like, okay, I put you here, I can take you out of here. Like, what? Did I ask you to have me?
No.
Lord Jesus, let me stop.
Children, my children, if you're listening to me out there, mommy don't want you to take care of her, okay?
But seriously,
mommy set herself up to take care of herself.
Praise the Lord. But for real. Nah, man, seriously, because you have some parents, they are really, very demanding toward their kids. Let's be serious for a minute. I was joking around, but let's be serious. Yeah. But really, we have some parents, they are very demanding toward their kids, you know. Sometimes you don't know how the kids is getting their money. You don't even try to take the time to say, son, daughter, how you doing? How are you coping with your own bill? You know, I know you're giving me, some type of allowance every month. How do you get that money? Right. How you been? Tell me about yourself. You don't ask, but as long as they come in with a nice looking car, they're driving the next Tesla. Oh my God, look at my son. Oh my God, look at my daughter. But do you know what they're doing? Do you know what's going on with their life? Find out, because life is so short. You don't know the mental problem that person may be dealing with. You understand? Just like she talked about mental issue. Your sons and daughter, they are working hard. Yes, they bring you allowance so that they can help you with your bill. Praise God for that. But ask them, son, how are you doing? Daughter, how are you doing? How did you make that money? You know, how is it going with your job? Ask question, because let me tell you something. Your sons and daughter can be thinking about suicidal and you don't even know. They can be thinking about killing themselves and you don't even know. It's when they kill themselves, like, oh my God, my son was really happy. Oh my God, my daughter was, how could she do that? How could he? Did you ever stop and ask my son, how are you doing? I'm telling you that because I know, as a single woman, I've dealt with things. You understand? Because if it weren't for the help of God, if it weren't for the love of Jesus Christ, I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you. Amen. So I'm asking you guys, talk to your loved one, check on your loved one, because sometimes we just spend months, we spend days, even years, we don't talk to each other. It's imperative that we talk to one another because life is so short. Life is so short. Don't think you're going to have tomorrow. Tomorrow is not yours, but today is. Whatever peace that you need to make with your loved one, make it now. Don't wait for later, because later you might not have the time. Ask each other how they're doing. How are you surviving? How are you paying your bill? ask, because most of the time we want things for free. Things are not for free. Life.
Somebody has to pay for it. Somebody
is paying for it. Hello.
Nothing is free.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, y'all, but for real. Life is getting expensive, right? Everything you do in life, what you see people used to give to you, if they give it to you, it's coming out of somewhere. Be courteous, even if it's $1 that you have, give. The Bible says, give it shall be given unto you, good measure, pressed down, shaking together, running over into your bosom. If you keep the $1 you have and you don't want to share, then you're going to only have the $1. But when you share, when you give, the more you give, the more the Lord will give. You basically will have room so that the Lord can continue to bless you.
Yeah.
So bless people. Find ways to bless people. Don't just stay in your corner. Find ways. You are a blessing so that you can be a blessing to the other. God bless you, should I say. God bless you so that you are able to be blessing to somebody else.
Amen.
So please, people are dying out there. Your loved ones are dying out there. Please, let's help one another. Let's be more loving toward one another, because that's what God requires from us, to love one another, especially this time that we're living in. Now we have people that are dying everywhere. People right next to you in the neighborhood, they are dying. Do you even go knocking your neighbor door? Honey, how you doing? Just someday, buy a little cake, bring to your neighbor. Do something nice. Do something kind. Do you understand me?
Yes.
So, anyway.
They understand.
But anyway, that is all we have for you today, because really, truly, generational cycle is something that is very real, y'all. Very real.
It is.
We cannot say enough. That topic is vast.
And if you have a Gen Z in your home, they have a way of being quiet because they're always on social media. They're always on their phone.
Mm-hmm.
If they don't have their phone, they get anxiety. They're not socially, they're not able to be out there in amongst people.
Yeah.
So if they're quiet, please go check on them, because I've had stories where friends where they've had family member in their room and not being checked on, and they commit suicide.
Yep.
And
that happened
in the house.
Mm-hmm.
And you're making them breakfast, you go knock on the door and they're not alive. So please check on your children. If they're too quiet, make sure that that they're okay.
They're okay, yes.
Right.
Because social media is bullying your kid. Okay? What your kid are dealing with are 13 years old, 12 years old, what they dealing with in school, you don't know. Make sure you check on your sons and daughter. I don't know how much I can repeat this. They are dealing with stuff. Demonic force is after your children. They are after your kid. And you as parent, if you are a single parent, man, make sure you check on your daughter, your son. Check on them. Don't leave them in the house. Like she said, social media, not only they're being attacked from social media, they are attacking school. Things are being said to them that are not pleasing, that they don't talk to you about. Please, talk to your kid. So that you don't say, man, what happened to my daughter and son?
Yes, it starts at home. And that's why we have these, school shootings and stuff. It's always what?
Mm-hmm. Always
a Gen Z, right?
A Gen Z, yeah. It's
at home.
Gen Zs.
Right. So check on your children. Make sure they're getting the help they need.
Yes.
Yeah.
So anyways, we are out. Dr. White, do you have anything else? Any word of encouragement that you last word that you want to say before we close? Because I know we said a lot. But
yes. We said a lot. Check on your children. Make sure they're okay. Mental health is real. Mm-hmm. So make sure you seek help for that. Don't be shy. Mm-hmm. Don't be shy about talking about it. Like I used to be, mental health is real.
Absolutely.
So take care of yourself. And it was nice to be here today. Thank you for having me.
It was a pleasure having you, Chief.
I wear so many hats. many hats.
So yeah, so it was
Yeah.
a pleasure to have her with us today. Really, she served our country, very well. 25,
29.
29.
Yeah.
I'm trying to take some out, okay? So she served us for 29 plus years, my
Yes.
God. And then she had kid, a husband, a home, but she still managed to raise her kid right. I mean, what a blessing. So we thank her again for her service, to our country, and still serving our country. So, ma'am,
Thank you.
on with her, so I'm saluting. So it was a pleasure. Thank you so much, everyone, for giving us your time to watch us wherever you are. So I pray wherever you are, so everything that we said here, even if it's one word, that you take that could bless you, we will be, grateful to God for that. So we ask you to please love, like, and share as much as you can, so that the more people that hear our conversation, more life can change. Again, thank you so much.
Like, subscribe, and share.
That's right. Like, subscribe, and share. Again, thank you for Jasper TV for all the work. Thank you for that, Director Alan Daphnis. For those of you who have business out there that you need a platform to talk about your business, please reach out to Director Alan Daphnis. The phone number, I can never have it in my head. Anyway, call for Jasper TV. It will be in our screen here, so please call us. Call Director Alan Daphne for whatever business you have here. He is the man. He is a man who is, like, his characteristic is like, oh my God, it's out this world. He is very open, very nice, very kind. I mean, I have no word to describe this man, because he is that man. So whatever it is that you need, call him. He will give you that platform, whether if it's in radio, TV. Alan is your guy, and we want to say thank you to Donald for doing a great job by the camera. Salute. See you guys later. God bless. Shalom, shalom.
Bye.
Music